All right, g'day, hi, and welcome. Make a short video here. Did a little bit of work on my CRV. I'm almost, if I park it over there, I should be able to get underneath this thing without having to jack it up. But what I got to look at, okay, first off, get my knee on that, is I already kind of buttered it up a bit, but that's where the magnetic shifter is. That's one thing I got to check. I'll do more detail on that, so if you missed it, not a big deal. And then somewhere about mid-engine here, or middle of the engine, is the cable for the shifter, which I'll do. So I did my doors, I did greased up my doors, everything like that. And my dog and my girl walking away from me, ignoring me. But what I got, the monstrosity I got going on over here, I can smell that from here. That's so horrible. That's my bait freezer. The things I do for money, guys. The things I do for money. Probably easier to say. Okay, so here's my brother's car. Now, what I don't know, I talked to my dad about it. I'm going to have to ask him again tonight. But I think the plate's still good on it. And that's all that matters. If it's been parked or not. Because if it's been parked for a year, after a year, you have to either insure it or you have to get a new safety. This will never pass another safety. Not that this car isn't safetyable, but not without a lot of money. So what does this car need? Well, here's what it needs. Well, it doesn't need a door handle. Doesn't need a door handle. And we'll start there. This thing does run. I gotta put some, I gotta pump up the tires. I mean, the body on this thing is just, it's immaculate. That's why I want to get it out of here. It's very dirty right now, but I'm going to get it out of here. Probably not going to happen today. This hood could be replaced. This could be a hell of a project car, guys. I mean, look at this. This is 99, 2000, 2001, something like that. This car spent more time in a garage than when we first got Lacey. A chipmunk or a squirrel or something got up in here, and this car was like, look, brand new. And that's my dog chewing on it as my brother nearly killed her. He was so mad. But I don't know, easier to go in the other way. I'm gonna have to get these handles, but this car, like, basically, look at the wheel wells. There's the rockers. They're starting. I mean, it's starting. Sitting where it's sitting is not a good spot. So I'm going to get it out of here tomorrow. Now, my goal with this thing is, if it is not completely off the road, if I have to insure it for a month, it is worth it. But what I might do is operation secondary vehicle, because that vehicle I can't rely on. The problem with this one is it needs tires for sure. Probably tie rod. You back off, man. Okay, you're supposed to go up, not out. What's with this tree? You're growing the wrong... Up. It's longer than it is tall. Do you not understand the law of physics of nature? Anyway, what I know about it. Okay, so this thing blows belts because my brother... The reason why this hood is a different color and that quarter panel is a different color is because that obviously came from another car. Some people say beater, I say charm. Now, mind you, his son, this car was so pretty when he got it, and he got it for 1,800 bucks. Mint. Is a standard, really cool. Clutch isn't too bad on it. Very light clutch, super light clutch. Awesome car to drive. Only got to drive it on the road once, and I overheated it when I did. Has a leaky radiator or hose or something. I'll have to get to that. It needs brakes, tires, rotors, calipers, wheel bearings. I don't know if all around, but definitely wheel bearing and tie rods. This car, it's a handful to drive in that sense, that it's light and nimble and all that, but you could feel the weight on the steering. So when my brother hit the deer, my dad basically hooked some come-alongs to a bunch of trees over there and pulled the straighten the frame the best he could. Engine runs like a top. But what ends up happening is he doesn't know if it's the main bearing, shaft bearing down there that's out of alignment, and he keeps blowing belts. So I don't know what it could be. It could be just when you hit something, it really, other than that, this thing's a tank. It's a tank. It looks messy because it's been sitting all winter. Look at all that space, easy to work on. I mean, look at that. I can not even touch the exhausting in it. Look, oil filter. Thank you, Toyota. Thank you. I don't even have to get underneath the vehicle. I can take that off by hand. Well, maybe not right now because it's probably seized on, but thank you, Toyota. That's how you freaking design an engine. You know, where you can reach things. Kind of like back, like vehicles in the 70s and 80s and earlier. You could reach everything from the hood. You know, like, I mean, you didn't have to get underneath the vehicle and take 6 hours to take things apart just to do a freaking oil change. You know what I mean? Some vehicles are ridiculous. Dipsticks there. Yeah, you got this little, nice little, yeah, nice little engine. These are great little power plants. I'll have to do some studying up on it. Sounds like somebody's at the shooting range. Obviously, all these brackets, I'll have to oil them up. So if I can get the Javix, why did my brother pour Javix in there? Almost looks like he didn't take care of his battery. Bad brother. Bad brother. That's why I'm the older brother. So I can, you know, crack down on my little brother. I love him dearly. But bad brother. Just so he knows. Just so he knows. In fact, in the comments, please write, Corey, you're a bad brother. There you go. But yeah, so a frame again, the paint's still on it and everything like that, so it won't take me much to get this thing up and running. Water in the rad, pump up the tires, and I think this thing might have to put some gas into it. I'm not sure. I'll get it out there, I'll get underneath it, but like I say, the rust isn't bad. This is a car, if I could, even if I found another engine, and when I drove it the last time, I was the guy who parked it here. When I drove it the last time, okay, like this is one of those things, is it worth putting money into or not? But if I could get this thing up high enough on blocks, unlike my poor sailboat, look at how much my sailboat sunk down this year. I got to jack it up, but it takes like till the middle of June before the ground's hard enough to actually jack it up. I want to get this sucker at least a cinder block and a half up. But mind you, this has been sitting here for over 10 years, so if I can get rid of the trailer and the sailboat this year, I'd be happy. But if this thing's up on blocks with tin or something under it so they can't rust, I could see if I can find some, you know, like junkyard special stuff. I think there's even a second round of rims for this thing that he has. I know he had studied winter tires on it the last time, but if I can get the wheel bearings done, the brakes, the calipers, the rotors, then obviously the wheel bearings, then it's just a matter of figuring out why the belt breaks. And if I can figure out why the belt breaks, like I say, it's worth it to put the to plate this car for 1 month just to preserve it, so then I can, you know, put the parking plate back on it for another year. If I get money, like again, I'd love to stick a turbo in this thing, a big freaking turbo, just sticking right out of the hood. Cut a hole right there. I don't care. You know, put the turbo right through. Yeah, we'll bypass the rad. We'll stick the rad in the trunk or something. Put a big freaking turbo big freaking suction cup right in the front here. You know, like what a man would do. You know what I mean? Put a 3 turbos, a small turbo to spin up, the bigger turbo to spin out, a triple turbo. You know, like by the time you're done, you got like this friggin' foghorn of a turbo on there. It takes like 4 minutes. It takes 4 minutes to spool up, but when she does, so yeah, you're flying. Now, if I could just make it a rock solid, light little, because the engine doesn't have to come out, but you know, if it is an engine, if it is the drive shaft problem from the accident, and I can figure out why it's blowing back. And mind you, it could be a bent pulley, it could be, this is not my vehicle, so I'd have to play around with. But if it's something that I can have as a secondary vehicle with no rust on it hardly at all, yeah, it's worth it to get this thing up and running, because it doesn't need much, and I could piece it together. So I'll have to start from the wheel bearings out, but it's basically chassis stuff, like wear and tear chassis stuff. I'm not sure what the mileage is on this beast. It's not like my CRV. My CRV is that thing is a workhorse and a half. That door. So there's issues with it, don't they? 260, it's practically new. 264,354. That's practically brand new, buddy. Man, oh man, it's hot in here. It's very hot in here. I'll leave that open. Leave that open. But yeah, like I mean, look, it's all, there's no rust. That's even my dad and I are like, he's like, oh, it's such a shame So I'm going to ask him tonight if he did take the... I don't think he remembers if he did, but... Because, I mean, like I say, the cracked windshield... you know, if I can find a windshield, I got the rubber, so I'll just smash out the windshield, keep the rubber. And this rubber looks pretty good, so it's not all dried out and everything, so... if it's worth it, it's worth it. If it's not, I don't know. I mean, you're looking at a couple of grand of parts, but a couple of grand for a vehicle that is a tank, super reliable, whatever, that's not so bad. But, you know, like if it takes me a year to put it together, you know, it's because I don't have $1,500 to go out and buy another vehicle to run into the ground. And this, it's the body on it. Like, I don't mind, like, if it's something, because I could oil spray this, and I've got enough oil to oil spray like 4 vehicles, let alone 1. I could mummify this thing. It'll never rust. You know, well, it'll rust. But yeah, this would be a good project car. Before I sink a cent into it, I got to figure out what, you know, like if it's already off the road, then it's scrap metal. What a shame. Then what I'd tell my dad to do, I said, look, there's a lot of young lads that'll buy this as a project car for $500. You know what I mean? Like it's that kind of a car. Like I say, the turbo thing. Yeah, there's some kid that wants to make a Tercel sleeper. And, you know, I get myself a touch-up gun. I could repaint it. I'm pretty good at bodywork, so I'll take the dents out. That dog right there. Yeah, and it took her like not even 2 minutes. Turned her back for 2 minutes, and she chewed all that when she was a puppy. Yeah, because of a squirrel. And he, like, I don't even think he had it a week. And again, this thing looked like a